both and maybe show something brand new. I'm kind of hoping that they have something crazy in stock for us, and with ROX Tigers not banning any one of them, we're bound to see one of them slip through.
We do see that Braum ban by ROX Tigers. Snowflower played a pretty sick Braum in game number 1, but kind of just taking what they gave to him at the same time. You know, running straight at a Braum when you have 3 members in a line is not exactly the most difficult glacial fissure that we've ever seen, but still giving respect to that pick.
Oh, are you serious, ROX Tigers? So Kalista and Elise were up. And Kalista is a huge pick for Sangyun. We all know that. But instead, they ban Elise, so they know that Jennaire's response is, you know what? We're just going to leave both banned out of... We don't have to worry about this, and we'll trade it for a Thresh. So instead of playing with fire, they played it the safe way. Tigers did not want to have to deal with that, so Jennaire responds, and we get ourselves a game that isn't as action-packed with OPs as we would have loved.
It was... We got a shot of the Jennaire booth, actually, after that Elise ban, and he was clapping. He's like, yeah, yeah, and he took a deep breath of air. He seemed pretty happy with the fact that they didn't have to make that hard decision and potentially give over the Kalista.
Exactly. Think about how difficult that would have been if you have to make the choice of Elise or Kalista. Personally, I would have sided with the Elise. You let the Kalista go through, but then you do what? Jennaire would lock in Kalista Rakan or Kalista Thresh, so you already have a very brutal bottom lane to deal with. But alternatively, you could have also just banned Thresh as your final ban, force them into a Rakan Kalista situation early on that can go into a rabbit hole of different scenarios into the pick and ban. And don't get me started on that one, because I can go on forever when it comes to picks and bans.
Yeah. Saying something about his son growing up and coming down to the studio. Not sure 100% what he means. I don't think he's the father of any of the players in the booth, but I could be wrong. Pretty early Orianna pickup for Lava on the side of ROX.
Already the composition can shape up to be a protect, a carry composition. Sangyun obviously can do the Kog'Maw, the Twitch. So much is available to him, and I like the Rex I picked so far. So ROX is going with a much more standard composition here that has more tools to make plays happen, unlike the Carmen to the mid lane that I will always hammer into when there are better options. There are times, of course, where she is quite viable, but last game, maybe not the right time, and Jennaire do respond with the Rakan. So we've got the Lovers bottom lane and the jungle Gragas.
What does it say? Translate it for me, Crumbs.
Oh, that's Chinese, though.
The first part is China. I know that. I don't know the second 2 characters. But he's saying something about China. He's got a Chinese flag.
Oh
and,
my God, is he triggering people now, saying that China's the best region?
But he does it in Chinese in Korea. That's so clever. The look that Crumbs gave me. Well, we're going into the second couple of bans here. And you can see that they're taking out a bunch of the, or at least one of the hyper carries. There's a second one in the Tristana.
Yeah, really respect those bans. They see what ROX is trying to do. They know that Sangyun is the main carry. Get rid of the picks that would allow him to do just that. But there's still plenty of other champions available, because with Thresh and Orianna, your AD carries can always play a little bit further up, allowing you to take the role of a higher DPS champion, and inadvertently you become kind of like a hyper carry. Oh no.
I made a little face.
Oh no.
Towards the Malzahar.
Don't give me the Galio. No.
Well, he doesn't have LeBlanc, so has to resort to another pick. We don't really see Vladimir anymore, which is another one of Kuzan's favorites. So it will be that Galio.
This is exactly what KT ran in game 2, if you remember. They had the Jace top instead, but it was Xayah Rakan with Gragas jungle and Galio to the top side. But this composition, we saw what the issue was against these late game or compositions that are having carries that are able to dance around. It becomes so much tougher for them because there's not enough damage. But ROX Tigers will change things up with a Jax for Shy, and we've yet to see Jax truly be used in a fantastic way. It's always either Jax gets fallen behind and he's very useless, or he gets super far ahead, like when Khan played it and the game is over at level 1 because a Renekton skilled E. I still remember that.
Never forget. It was sometime in July 2017. Never forget. And speaking of no damage, we're going to have a Renekton come in here for Jin-Air, potentially. So just adding to the problem.
Oh boy, yeah. Jin-Air have a tall order to fill in this time around. They have all in on the early game, and the late game is pretty much just Xayah. There's not enough damage here that the Jax is going to be able to tank them for days. So Xayah needs to get ahead. They need to start making waves early and quickly, because the ROX Tigers will have a pretty big advantage when it comes to the 1-4 split pushing from Shy. The Renekton is not going to be able to hold the Jax eventually, although he does have heroic entrance that does separate the compositions significantly enough so that Thresh, Varus, and Orianna can engage onto Xayah Rakan, and we all know how that turns out.
Kind of funny to see another ban pick here where we don't have Jarvan be banned or picked. Doesn't happen very often, but definitely one of those big meta picks in the top lane. And, well, if you're a Freaka, you try to play him in the jungle, and, well, it doesn't work. But just not picked or banned by either team, deciding to go with other picks this time around, and picking the Renekton over the Jarvan in the top lane for Jin-Air.
And without the Jace being there, the Jax now becomes a great pick. They have many win conditions. You've got Orianna, you've got Jax that can always leap in. He's a fantastic ball carrier. And then you have Thresh to offer a lot of support when it comes to lancering them out. Whereas Jin-Air, they absolutely need to crush Shy early on. Gragas and Renekton, they have a big window of opportunity there into the top side. They have to use Kuzan as well at level 6. And that means that the plays that they make will have a higher risk than what they typically go for, because of the implication of hitting that late game where they're not going to be able to split push.
Well, I'm very interested to see how this one's going to turn out. Can Jin-Air win the early game and potentially take this one 2-0, or will ROX Tigers tie it up? Let's jump into game number 2. As you guys can tell, still very big crowds for both of these teams, as they do have a lot of fans here in Korea. Doesn't matter if you're sitting at 7th place as ROX Tigers, you'll still be pretty supported by your fans.
Look at the beautiful dance. It's the mating call of these two.
There's a distinct lack of music.
Music is within their hearts, Valdez. That's what love is all about.
I see. You just made me think like 2 levels deeper. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
They stopped dancing, though, so I'm a little bit disappointed. That's okay. Maybe we'll get it a little bit later on. Snowflower's looking to get hooked here by Keith. We're going to have a blue buff start from Sungwon.
Just not wanting to get spotted out, I guess. Likely just going for some sort of farm route on the Rek'Sai. It will be in their interest to slow the game down. They do know that late game is all about them. Although that does stop Shy from being able to have significant control in this lane, because typically if you are the Jax, you can walk up to the Renekton early on, just like he's about to do, but you don't have the minion aggro to turn back onto. Because level 1, Jax will win. His attack speed steroid with the Fervor stack, with the counter strike, forces Renekton to back away, step away from the minion wave, and then you can have a huge advantage early on. But because he opted out not to, or he opted out to leash, that means that he loses that, and so he has to play defensively in the lane, and it makes Sohwan's life that much easier.
Sohwan having a grand old time up in top, pushing that one in. And down here in bot ROX, they hit level 2 first, but not able to convert into anything. Sohwan doing a good job of denying all that farm. And here comes Sohwan down towards the bot side. Gonna pick up the Scuttle Crab. Actually move in to try to find Umti, who's a bit low.
He gets to go in because his bottom lane is pushing in, so he knows that he's safe. He's got Thresh there if he needs to get out. But oh, they're looking for Gragas. There's a ward, though. They did see that ward be placed, so I'm curious as to why they're actually trying that.
Next level plays.
All right, let's see how good Sohwan is at harassing the Jax under the turret. An annoying thing that you can do as a top laner, or just as any laner, is that you can try to just stand as close as possible to the minions that he's about to last hit, so that you force him to auto on you and miss some CS.
Shy did a pretty okay job up in top. Someone kind of messed up the timing and took a turret hit, so he wasn't as aggressive as he could have potentially been.
But at least he got the teleport out of Shy early on, and that's pretty big. He at least went back and bought items that suit the play that he just made, with going with a Doran shield to match the Corrupting Blast in order to stay in lane as long as possible. And if he can stall out Sohwan's recall as well for not getting another item to start punishing Jax a little bit heavier, then he's going to be in a great spot to catch up and farm, although both junglers are sniffing something up here.
Oh, Sohwan, he's just going to... Oh, thought he was going to face check that one, but a nice ward does make sure that he is safe.
Well, it's not just a ward. If you look at how Sohwan actually played that out, the second that Rek'Sai started moving up there, Sohwan started moving away from the minion wave into the right-hand side of the lane, a little bit further down, closing that distance. And that's an indication that, okay, this guy knows, and there's likely to be somebody else here that knows why I'm doing this. Otherwise, he wouldn't be walking up to 1v2 me. He's got to have some backup. So he sees that opportunity, and instead, he just walks back right away. And just some cheeky trading to the bottom lane, but we all know that's not going to turn into a kill.
Yeah, not too much. Snowflower just using a bit of his flair. He is Rakan after all. But all is fine down in the bottom side. Jinner with the small lead already. Just comes down to the CSing in the mid lane mainly. Small lead up in the top side as well for Sohwan over Shy. But Shy's keeping up.
Oh, Umti, you're trying to make so much happen. Game 1, rushing Mobies without any kills did pay off, but it was an Elise. Now he is playing the Gragas and also rushed the mobility boost. And we need to see him find something on the map. At least he has the Machete and Talisman to speed up his jungle clear, but with Mobies, he needs to start getting the ball rolling because his team fighting is so much weaker like that.
And comes Sohwan again. Down into the bottom side, so really keeping tabs on that bot side. Wants to make sure that his bottom lane that's pushing in pretty heavily is definitely safe. Consistent ward over towards that blue buff. Just to lay that down, and oh, okay, level 6 hit here by Sohwan. God, these guys' names are kind of confusing. But yeah, just pushing Shy back, forcing him to play a little bit safer. Use that counter strike to stay alive, but up comes Umti, and here comes Guzan. This could be the first kill of the game as they collapse onto Shy, who is still level 5. He's not backing off. There's a ward, but it might be a little bit too late. He's jumping to that minion, and it looks like Jinner, they're not going to quite go for it. Just going to zone him out of the wave and kill him that way.
Yeah, they're going to be able to zone out 2 minion waves out of Shy. The vision is there. Unfortunately, the Dominus was used early on, and Shy was able to get out. So now they have a much harder time to get back into this lane. But ROX is trying to answer bottom side, but I don't think they're going to be able to get a whole lot. There's still Galio ulti, and he's in position.
Yeah. Galio's in position. Good read there by Jinner. And now, I mean, you can see what Shy's trying to do. He's trying to get back to the tower, but he can't. There's the flash. Nice follow-up flash, but I think this guy is in a ton of trouble. Will jump to the minion, though. Not a lot of mana here for Umti. Sohwan eating a bunch of damage from that turret, and they might just have to let this one go. The Jax gets away, but again, he's still losing money. He's still losing experience in the top lane.
Welcome to the Gragas that's got Moby boots. Sure, he can be there, but he can't do anything. They're going to try again.
Okay, well, he's got one body slam, I suppose. Counter-Strike is a little bit early. Now they're trying to turn around, but again, it's Jax. He jumps to the minions, and he doesn't get any farm again.
What a fiesta up here. 35 CS now onto Sohwan, though. So, sure, the kill should have gone his way, but that's what happens when the teleport comes out. It's an engage into the bottom lane, but He just dashes out so effortlessly, so majestic. Looked like another one of his dance moves.
Pretty cool to have him do that. He couldn't get in position in time, and you can see that Kuzan was nearby for the heroic entrance, so they didn't want to all in anyway. Still a nice little lead down in bot lane for ROX Tigers. They do have that going on for them. Already 16 CS ahead is Songyun over Teddy.
Yeah, they're doing great, and the bottom lane can just push. That has been the trend so far for a lot of these bottom lanes. Just push, push, push. As long as you can defend yourself for the dive, for any ganks. Your roaming supports, they do make a difference, but typically they're there to just prevent any aggression from happening onto the bottom side of the map. Thresh is great for that, and Vara is playing kind of like a Tristana, where you just push relentlessly and don't let the opposing top AD carry base. You get a nice lead that way. You get your own item spike that you want. Ooh.
These guys, they really want to fight, but just a response, ult for ult.
Jax doesn't want to fight Renekton in the minion wave. You're going to give him a little bit more heal, so he has to just back off.
This is Farm Fest 2017. No kills coming out, no matter how hard they try.
To be honest, I don't think they tried that hard to kill
Jin-Air
Shy.
tried.
To kill, it was...
They kind of tried. I think it was Shy's majestic plays that got him out.
They've done better.
Yeah, they got to work on their form.
Here it is, though, the first blood incoming. T-minus 30 seconds.
Shy doesn't have flash. All someone has to do is land the stun, and there it is. The follow-up with the body slam, and that's going to be enough burst damage. First blood with the cask. Goes over to Umti.
Dies in the drink. Just a great cask immediately to make sure that his leap strike does not fall through. No flash on Shy, and that's going to be first brick as well for Jin-Air. So the attention into this lane was what we were looking for in this draft. That Jin-Air needs to start shutting down Shy if they want to have a chance in this game. They know that their late game is going to be weaker just because of a lack of damage. So they punish right away, and now that's a Renekton that is almost double the CS. So we're going to look at it again. The Gragas just barely sneaks in, and Shy doesn't get the counter-strike to dodge out of the stun. Instead, takes 2 stuns to the face and a cask to seal the deal.
A very flashy death, as you were saying. Dies mid-drink as the wine spills everywhere.
But, like, even though the execution wasn't there, this is what people should be getting excited about Jin-Air. They're playing macro well. I've been saying it for weeks now. They understand what the compositions allow them to do, the time windows that they need to accomplish these things in, and they were able to shut down Jax. Then they're able to transition into a Rift Herald because they need to start cracking down those mid lane turrets. They crack out mid, and then it becomes a whole lot easier for them to go elsewhere. And now if they can succeed in identifying what they need to do, we can expect a Rift Herald into the mid lane, maybe some action against Lava, who has been relatively passive, just farming away, has those Sork shoes to keep farming and dodge out of Galio, but that's what Jin-Air needs to be doing. They want to be going for some towers, and it appears that instead they're going for the first Infernal Dragon. So the Dragon is in their favor, and Jax is not going to accomplish anything teleporting in here. So even though they are in sight through a scuttle, it should not deter them from completing this objective.
Yeah, phase Jax is not too efficient. Doesn't really do much. Kind of just sits there. So even under vision, they know what's happening. There's not much that the ROX Tigers can do, and it's basically take all the objectives is the game here for Jin-Air. They get the top turret with that first blood. They get the Infernal Drake. They have the Rift Heralds. They can push either mid or bot if they want to. And you can see what Shy is doing. They know that they've kind of, again, conceded this early game, so they're like, okay, I'm just going to freeze the wave for a bit, farm up as much as I can, try to catch up. And he's not as far behind as he once was in this game, so at least he was able to pick up a bit of farm.
He gets some farm, but look at what Sohwan did with his time. He left topside when the wave was at the tier 2. He got Herald with the jungler, then he got Dragon with the jungler again, and made it back to the top side to not miss a single minion. He didn't lose a cannon to the turret. He got them all. So he maintains a CS lead and allows the team to snowball the game instead of being selfish and staying into the top side, forcing dives over and over onto Shy, which repeatedly become more difficult as he gets levels and is closer to the base of ROX Tiger so that they can collapse. He instead takes a more altruistic approach and now is even counter jungling. So Sohwan is playing this game out so well.
Altruistic indeed. This guy is a team player. You gotta hand that to him. He's doing quite well for the team. Definitely has to be kind of a switch up in the way that they just work as a team. You know, communication, the macro plays that they're making. It's a team effort. It's not just one guy. It's not just the shot caller. So gotta like what they're doing. Now ROX is trying to set up a dive into the bot side. Teddy doesn't have his ult at this point in time. The TP comes in. There's the hook, but they're going to turn this onto him as, oh boy, that did not work.
All right, well, that's a dive. Jin saw it. You know, he placed a ward in front of the tower in order to get anybody ready to teleport if the situation needed to happen. And ROX felt safe going for the dive because they saw that, okay, Orianna is low. They're invading the blue side. It looks like they want the blue buff. That means that Galio is not going to be ready to go for a heroic entrance. The teleports might be the only thing, but there's no follow-up onto the Rek'Sai knockup. They're too far back. It's too difficult to kill them. And they don't even burn flashes. That was just a freebie. He's doing a Spirit cosplay.
Just a different champion, I suppose, the Rek'Sai.
I mean, like, they're not going to go through with this. Look at where the ward got placed right away. This dive will not work. You only have one TP. When you're risking a double TP, you're going to get 4-man ganked by Galio and Renekton. A Renekton that is fed, a Galio that can also save with a heroic entrance after teleporting in. You forget about going for that move.
Yeah, it's just desperation at this point. I mean, might just be lack of attention to detail at the same time, as you were mentioning. I mean, it's 1 TP versus 2 TPs. It's not the hardest math in the world, and you got to know that Jin is going to be on that because they saw it coming a mile away.
Exactly. They're being aggressive on one side, so you expect the opposing team to be aggressive in the opposite side. Just basic League of Legends there that has been escaping ROX Tigers for Game 1 and Game 2.
Yeah, so just trying to hang on from here. Seems like Seongwon really didn't want to concede the early game, but he will have to concede his Raptor, the big one, as Kuzan just walks on in and takes it.
It's cool to see how Renekton has now changed his itemization. He's going for a Blade of the Rune King against the Jackson. I don't think it's enough for him to 1v1 the Jax, but it does offer him a defensive tool in terms of running away. When he jumps you, you get more sustain when Jack's trade pattern goes onto the engagement. Wait a minute.
Okay, Snowflower being jumped upon here. It's Kuzan versus the world at this point. The Void Rush over the wall. Love to get a shot of that. Seongwon has to burrow underneath now. The Featherstorm coming in. Does a bit of damage, but here comes Lava. You can see there was a trade going down up in top side. So ROX, they couldn't get any kills down in bottom, and it looks like a turret might go down here for Jin.
Some more focus onto the Jackson. There's nothing he can do. They're not strong enough to take on this 2v2 no matter what, because then you also have to consider the Galio. They try to have a fight into the bottom side of the map, but they're just too slippery. Great hook.
Oh, boy.
The hook lives after he dies.
All right, guys. Pack it up, boys. This is not going well. Oh, man.
Oh, Saruhan is here, too. Is he gonna die?
Oh, that was a good TP from Shy. He held that turret, that minion for about half a second. Someone now in a ton of trouble is going to flash the wall. Snowflower trying to be flashy himself, but can't make it work. So push going down in the bot lane as everybody from ROX have burned their summoners. They're very low. Everybody has to recall, and Jin looking to accelerate even faster.
Yeah, they are snowballing real well here, but it looks like they're simply outclassed the ROX Tigers. It looks like there are two teams on two completely different levels of playing League of Legends. ROX Tigers are still dealing with the basics, whereas Jin is focused more on the execution as well as more aggressive kind of plays. And I don't really know what they're trying to accomplish there. They thought maybe they could get that Xayah, but she also has flash. Rexa was coming in from the backside. just underestimating her damage. And to be fair, it is a little bit confusing at times to look at when Xayah's going to be able to crazily burst you down and when she just hits you with literal feathers. So I can kind of understand why they're going for that. They're a bit desperate, but it shouldn't have been their MO to be this aggressive without enough preparation.
I like the calmness, too, from Teddy. You were talking about how he had his summoners, but he's like, nah, I can just kill you. I mean, if you want to walk up to me, I can just kill you. I don't need to flash the hook. I don't need to be flashy. I can just do it straight up, and it's pretty cool to see. Teddy has been one of those shining lights for Jin Air in terms of mechanical skill. Always was looking at him in spring as his team kind of fell apart around him, and, well, things are really coming together for this team, which is pretty cool.
I want to get excited about Jin Air, but it's unfortunate that if we think about the playoffs picture, you can't have everybody. So if Jin Air is to qualify, we would lose somebody else. And at this point, the bottom one is Afrika. So it would have to be Afrika who they face. But for Jin Air, like you said, they have to beat Longzhu as well. So it is quite unlikely that we see them entering playoffs, but it's always fun to see them play League at this level because it makes us happy that a mid-tier team has macro skills that are far above what you would expect out of their standing situation.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool if basically every team in LCK could live up to the standard. You know, you were talking about, hey, it's a mid-level team. Finally, they're learning how to play solid macro at a very high level. Well, it would be cool if everybody could do that, and it really came down to the crazy plays, the small advantages. That would truly be the highest level. I mean, it is already the highest level, but I wish we could elevate that level as, you know, across the board.
You want to go higher.
Teams. I want to go higher, not deeper. Not in this case. But,
well,
Jin Air,
no better team to go higher than Jin Air, right?
It's true. Fly to the sky, Jin Air. I think their motto is "Fly better fly." We say that in the StarCraft broadcast.
Fly better fly?
Fly better fly, Jin Air.
What is that
like
translation? Is that a translation?
That's the motto. I don't know if it's a translation error or what it is, but okay. He's just looking to party.
Guys, I brought the
He wants
drinks.
to go down.
I got the cask. I got the keg. I'm here. Oh, we left. Sorry, dude. We've moved on.
They're going to the cooler party. They want to go home first. Sick Shockwave cleaning up those back creeps.
What's going on?
Yeah, this is weird. I'm really excited for that Longzhu Jin Air game. Do you know when that is, actually?
That is on Thursday, the 27th.
Okay, I'll be tuning into that one, just like any other broadcast, but that'll be definitely a nice treat. Would be a pretty sick upset. Definitely is an upset if Jin Air goes against Longzhu and defeats them. Don't want to, you know, overhype this team too much. They still have to prove a little bit more.
Something else that they'll have to prove is I don't think these compositions would work against a team of a higher caliber. So if they are getting away with murder here, but it is a struggling ROX Tigers, so we commend them for taking advantage of the situation and going with this draft, although it is not over yet. There's still a situation in a world where Jax can get out of control, where an Orianna Shockwave and Sangyun's Strength can shine through, although we are still a long ways away from that one. Probably 20 minutes until we actually get to that point.
Yeah, only 3 kills so far. So, again, not the most action-packed game that we've had in recent times.
And I actually want to go and dive into why I say 20 minutes from now, because it's a bit of a, you know, why such an arbitrary number of just 20 minutes? Well, 20 minutes from now would be about 42, and because Baron has yet to be started, you can expect Baron to probably go down or at least be tinkered with within the next 5 minutes. It usually takes teams about 2 or 3 more minutes to actually seal the deal on that one. So you can expect that Baron and be done in maybe around the 27, 28 minute mark. And if that's the case, then the next one would be around 35. So I'm just saying it would take about 2 Barons before the game goes down. Or before either Jin Air wins or for ROX to stall those 2 out and then they're be in a good position.
Yeah, and they certainly have to just sit back and stall it out. You can see that at least they're not doing the MVP thing where they have Jax joining every fight and going in and dying or anything like that. They're literally having him freeze lanes underneath tier 2 turrets and just say, hey, farm, we don't want to see your face for the next 20 minutes, because that's what they need Jax to do. Here comes the TP from Sohan, and should be Kuzan as well coming in, looking for as many kills as possible. Key in a ton of trouble. You can see that actually Sohan gets very low himself, but not going to go down at the end. Meanwhile, Shai is going to take out this turret, so that was only 1 kill on the support. They really need this Baron to come through for them.
Whoa, he hit him with dope.
The Void Rush comes in. What the hell? Sohan, he's going deep. One in that kill, but not quite enough. At least he gets them off the Baron.
That was a good move there from Sohan. Instead of going for a 50-50, forces everybody to peel off to try to save the Renekton. And it looked like it would have been a throw, but he uses his flash to get out of that one. So overall, ROX played it decently well. And you're saying that Shai just doesn't want to join the team, and the Jax is the perfect pick for him, because his teleports in the last series were just all about ditching his own team.
Yeah.
We're going to look at it again. They focus Key. He's so far out, just gets knocked back everywhere. Didn't get to use his own summoners, and sure, they get some poke out, but we are not going to get to see the Rek'Sai going in, as it wasn't deemed worthy.
Yeah, throw out the tape. No one wants to see it.
Scratch that VHS.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people watching here would actually know what a VHS tape was, or a cassette.
I'm sure they've seen enough. Only 90s kids will get this memes, because they certainly use the internet. If they are that young, that they don't know what those are.
Yeah, but you don't know life from memes. Memes don't teach you about the real world.
They teach you what video cassettes are. Or rather, cassettes and VHS. But, oh boy, Snowflower getting in a lot of trouble here. The flash over, they really want that kill, and they get it. Meanwhile, Shai gets away. Slippery little Jax we got down here. And all of a sudden, ROX, they're starting the Baron. The teleport is coming in from Shai. So this time, 5v4, they want to force it, but Kuzan, he wants to stay. No, he wants to get in there. They're looking for this engage. They're going to taunt up too. Lava getting a little bit low, but the Baron will go over to them. The Shockwave is going to hit Kuzan, and where was the rest of Jin Air? They need to get in there, but it might be just too little too late, as ROX is going to successfully disengage.
It all started with Umti. What the hell are they doing? Trying to gank a bot lane champion when the opposite team is around Baron. They can do Baron, and your junglers know where they're, and they got a pick, so the Tigers find a way back into this game. That's 4,000 gold now in the favor of Jin Air, but with this Baron, the Jax becomes that much more powerful, and this is exactly what this composition needs. Now Jin Air is wondering, damn, how are we going to win these team fights? The gold lead is surely going to go down, and if Jax pops off, he can just jump into everybody, survive all the CC, survive all the damage with the Counter-Strike, and then just wreak havoc.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about before. This is why you can't get out of hand with your hype about a certain team. A team that gets O2'd by BBQ, they still have a lot of mistakes that they make. They get a little bit overconfident, maybe even cocky. Umti totally out of position. They need their jungler there. They need to stop that Baron, but they just can't with that kind of positioning, with that kind of play. So immediately the game is turned around. ROX Tigers aren't really that far behind anymore. They have this Baron. They can push turrets. They can even up the gold count. And Lava, I mean, he's doing pretty decently too. He hasn't died. He's been farming up very nicely. The Jax is looking good. Varus, sitting at the highest farm in the game, has a kill now and is nearly on 3 items. So we have a game for sure.
We do, and here is when it comes down to execution. Jin Air sees that Jax is split pushing. They see the 1-4, and they need to fight. They can get a numbers advantage before Jax can join because he doesn't have teleport, so they're trying to get themselves in position, but it looks like ROX is not going to give them the light of day, as they're just backing off. They're letting Shai do all the damage onto the tower, and even though they are mostly in the mid lane, their main goal right now is a top tier 1. Once they respond to this, then they'll go for the tier 1 into the mid lane tower, although I would like to see Jin Air. Wait a minute, Umti's caught!
Oh, he's caught. This is his death sentence for sure, as Thresh Key can line that one up, and they feed a kill to Lava. This game is running away from them.
The King is getting dethroned, getting caught out of position twice, and that's going to cost them huge to tier 1 mid. It's going to be now a tier 2. Hell, it might even be more. That's a big death timer with how fast these guys are pushing.
Yeah, ROX Tigers, they never gave up. They waited for the mistakes. They sat back and farmed. They played extremely passively, and Jin Air just could not execute in the end. The game isn't over, but definitely a gigantic turnaround, as it's less than a 3,000 gold lead and massive carries on the side of ROX. So the push coming in. They still got 40 seconds on the Baron.
TP.
Okay, TP coming in. They will respect this. Trying to disengage. It's only 4 members, but in comes Jax from the top, and this means that Jin Air, it's their turn to disengage. Although ROX, they want to turn it around. And there's that hook onto Kuzan. Someone getting extremely low. Big shockwave in the backline is going to keep Jin Air at bay. And now Sowan pretty low. Shy, will he jump in? Doesn't look like it. We won't have any kills in this fight.
Oh, he just cannot resist joining the team instead of trusting the call. Could have gone for the tier 1, but now he's grouped up. They want to go for that tier 2 into the mid lane. This is more important than the tier 1 top. And they are going to get a party cast to let everybody know that, yeah, dude, you guys got this.
Yeah, dude, party.
Cheers. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers to having you take game number 2 away from us. But definitely a rough position now, as Shy very confidently is going to be farming up now near that Titanic Hydra. But let's take another look at this fight.
The TP comes out, but Rakan is unable to hit them with the charm, even though Orianna still had a cleanse out of that one, so I'm not sure what they were thinking of how that was going to go. And Kuzan tries to get a taunt, but the area just doesn't build quickly enough. Songhwan is too tanky, and they're forced to run away. The play has already faltered. They've got no more business to do there.
So now ROX looking to run away with this one. They get the gold difference in their favor from the Baron. And they're looking to push top. It's the last tier 1 turret that's left over. Just trying to even up this gold score. They're very close to doing it, but still respecting the engage potential from the side of Jin Air. They still have this kind of wombo combo move where they have Renekton go in, Galio with the heroic entrance, always Rakan to follow up or even start the fight for you, and Teddy and Umti to lock you down.
Yeah, they're respecting the engagement. It's going to be big onto Umti to find a way to knock some carries into the team. There is no other chance. Here we go.
Okay, the knockup, they get Barish. That's a huge pick. That's exactly what they wanted. And even Lava in the background, a big shockwave. But can he get away? It looks like the slow might be enough. They're looking for this play, but it looks like Lava will get away. At least they get 1 carry, and Jin Air, they're still not out of this one.
That was really close, but that is what we need to see. They burned so many summoners to get that, but unfortunately it yields nothing but stalling out the tempo, buying them some time. Jax is still pushing into the mid lane, and now they're hammering away up to this turret. They just want to crash the minion wave. They cannot extend for more. Baron is going to come up in a minute. They need to be looking for a recall time right away, otherwise they will be losing that time to secure Baron vision.
Yeah, it looks like the bot lane will be, actually, not just the bot lane, everybody will be looking for that recall timing. Moving back. Do have a couple of control wards around the area, but they need to get more vision around there. So let's take a look at exactly how Songyun got caught here.
Rakan does a great job of initiating, follows through with Gragas and Renekton with the flash stun, but unfortunately, I think Jin Air overcommitted to killing the Varus. He was already so out of control that had Umti utilized the cast, not on Varus, but on Orianna, they would have been able to kill 2 carries at once, and that would have been significantly more valuable than overloading everything onto the Varus. Sure, it stalls out the game, but you also have to recognize the windows of opportunity that you can grab more than just 1 kill. They're not that far behind. They're only 3,000 gold, or 2.4 thousand gold rather, behind, which at 31 minutes, it's not a big deal. And they've got 2 Knight's Vows to help both actually Renekton and Xayah, so that just shows how important this Renekton pick is for this team.
It's pretty ridiculous. And when you said Knight's Vow, I was actually looking at someone at the same time. He has his own one. He is pure support Rek'Sai, just super tank Knight's Vow for his carries, and his own Gargoyle Stoneplate to just make sure that he stays alive for as long as possible in these fights to get as much utility as possible.
Everybody that has the Knight's Vow inherently becomes just a white knight of the internet.
Pretty much, actually. For
Xayah.
Yeah, for Xayah.
I love you, baby.
The members of their team.
How can Rakan treat you this way? Look at what I bought for you. I vowed for you.
I vow to protect you, to give my life.
And she's like, great, this is my PayPal. And
you can subscribe to me on Twitch. You can go check out my Patreon page.
My Snapchat is actually another extra 10. So your Vow's cute, but my Snapchat's cuter, XD. And then, bam, they got you.
They got fished, man. Look at Shy. He's actually getting fished under turret here. Counter-Strike will come out. Can he actually turn it? No, is the answer. So on, just a little bit too scary. Trying to slice and dice his way in, but that flash leap strike from Shy will get him to safety.
It's that Blade of the Ruined King. It's so much better at the 1v1s. I really would have thought that Shy would have gone for a Blade himself. Instead, finds a Tiamat, which makes him beefier, but it does not have a chance to fight out Renekton, especially under the tower. So he's forced to burn his flash, and I hope that this means that is not going to be tempted to go to the bottom side again, that it just means that it's a free flash that can now be abused on a 1v1 basis, or maybe on a Baron fight. No matter the case, Sohan is in a great position, and now Jinair, okay, they're just clearing out some vision.
Yeah. You can see that MT is close by. They got him on a tight leash after a couple of mistakes like that, so do like that idea that they keep him nearby, not really focused on the Jax. And so on, meanwhile, he pushed down the bottom lane very deep and then went to clear out all the jungle, so trying to be as efficient as possible, farm up as much as possible. And he also pushed Jax way, way back into that lane to make him recall very late, so bought a lot of time. Unfortunately, his team didn't really go for the Baron. No real play around there, as the Scuttle Crab was picked up by the ROX Tigers, so it's very hard to do that Baron not in vision. You got to use that Blasting Plant, sneak over.
Instead, they do get a Cloud Drake, which is not a huge deal, but it is something, right? They don't have the Vision Jet yet at Baron. This is completely free. It costs no time, as they didn't lose any valuable mid-pressure, and we have our final Dragon, which is going to be the Elder. 35 minutes in, or 34-40, pardon, when it ends up dying. So only a 3-stack Dragon will be coming up to the side of Jinair, but that objective is quite important because when you're dealing with compositions that don't have a lot of damage, Elder makes you have damage no matter who you are. So if we get to a point where we're trading both Baron and Dragon, I wouldn't be surprised if Jinair opt out to go for a Dragon and then trust on their ability to go for a hard engage onto a Baron ROX Tigers. It's unlikely that that scenario happens, but I think that that would be the one that would benefit Jinair if it were to occur.
It's a nice idea. I mean, that's the big thing that we give credit for in Jinair's composition is their ability to hard engage. I mean, we do have the QSS this time on Songyun, so he's not just going to get charmed into death this time around, but definitely has to be on point with all the engage potential from Jinair.
The big one is the explosive cast. No QSS, no cleanse can save you out of that one. If you get mispositioned too heavily, you can't even flash to a safer zone. So a lot relies on and now everybody's got their summoners back up, except Shy, but he's likely just going to be split pushing, so we're going to have some fireworks and some team fights when it happens. Both these teams can pull the trigger once they establish position into the minion waves, but unfortunately the vision game isn't too strong to guarantee us some really nice fights.
Yeah, not quite yet. They need to get some deep rewards. Jinair's got one kind of at the mid-tier 1 location in mid. That's about it. And yeah, we were talking about the Elder Drake versus the Baron. You know, they're not coming up at the exact same time, so at this point in time, Jinair, they want to get the Baron first, potentially deny that objective away from the ROX Tigers. But the longer this goes on, the scarier Shy is going to get. I mean, he's level 18 at this point, so is so on. But okay, here we go. Kuzan gonna get death sentence. Doesn't really eat that much damage, as you can see. This is Galio, but you can see also that Jinair, they're kind of reluctant to take the engage. They're like, okay, that's not on our terms. Songyun is in too good a position, so we're just gonna back off.
It's wise to only take the fights that you are okay with. We've already reached a point where one fight is likely to take the entire game, as you can get a Baron out of that one and get a little bit further into the base of your opponents. So it's okay for both these teams to just back off and say, no, we don't think our odds are in our favor in this terrain. We'll just wait to have another opportunity. You know, they don't have the excitement in our best interest. And not to say that watching proper macro play isn't exciting, but just launching yourself into the opponent without any reason just never makes a lot of sense. You always want to have purpose to the moves that you make. So when we see Jin Air and ROX Tigers struggle a little bit to find plays, it's not just a matter of them being overcautious. It's a matter of guaranteeing the win. Both these teams really want to win. ROX Tigers want the redemption, even though they are in 7th place and can't make playoffs or relegations. They still need that confidence boost to help them improve for the next season, because they are not happy with the results that they've had so far. And then you have Jin Air, who is trying to shoot for playoffs, and they need to win every single match. So they need to be trying really hard from now until the end of the split.
Very true. And for the ROX Tigers, it's very satisfying to win a game with the Jax composition, just to have him farm up the entire game and say, hey, we went toe-to-toe with you guys for 45 minutes, and then there's nothing you could do, and the Jax just totally overran you. Looks like Shy will be going for Blade of the Rune King next, so we'll eventually get that item. And okay, someone in an interesting spot. He's taunted up, but the Lantern is there. And so no fight again. And now we're getting close to the Elder Drake spawning. So a minute 45 until we have both the Elder and the Baron up, and still no picks have come down. They're looking for Seongwon here. The cask will come out. They are committing to this one. They do want this kill. They're going to flash onto him. They want to knock him up, but there's the Void Rush. He gets out of harm's way. The body slam in the tunnel, and it looks like he's safe for now. The shockwave is going to come down, and they can't get onto Seongwon. Meanwhile, Seongwon in the background. Oh, but the big knockup. They get onto Songyun. The heroic entrance. They need to hit one of these guys. Can they get the right side? They're trying to on the left side. This time they can. And that is a huge pick for them. No War Smite on the side of the Tigers, and this might mean Baron.
It's so important that Jin Air found the way to start the fight, and ROX was disjointed, but now they're looking to bait the Baron. They have a decent position, but they don't have any flashes. Only Gragas can have a flash to go on this. I think they're going to commit for a steal.
Oh, look at that! Snowflower just disappears, and the taunt is only going to hit Key. They need to be able to kill one of these carries. Another hook is going to land, and there's that burst out of Orianna. They get the taunt out to Shy. Can they burst him? They need to. They do. And that means now it's 3-on-3. But again, they need to keep Teddy in the back. They need to keep him safe. They do have a nice front line. Lava still, though, with a ton of damage. Meanwhile, the top lane is pushing. Nice big wave for Jin Air. They just need to delay. And it looks like they will disengage.
Ooh. At the end of that fight, all the carries of ROX are untouched, but everybody's summoners end up being used except Shy, who did go down to just being CC'd to death. But Jin Air does not have the jungler here. They're going to start this Baron off, but this is a bit risky. They're just testing the waters. Just testing the waters. We didn't mean it. It's okay. It's okay.
They get the TP. It's definitely pretty nice, but it also does mean that Kuzan's in perfect position now to group up with this team and go for some objectives once does respawn.
Here is the Elder Dragon. This is going to be theirs. They're going to lose out on that minion wave into the top side. So now Jin Air is propped to be in a great position, and ROX Tigers likely had the choice of, do you stay around the Baron and stall out for everybody to make it back on the base, or rush it? They're going for the rush now. is alive. This is all they can do.
Oh, this is getting so exciting. We'll have to see if they can rush down the Baron and if can steal. Okay, we got the Elder Drake coming down. He's waiting in the wings. Nobody really responding to him just yet. He's trying to play him out. He misses the death sentence. He misses that. He goes in and he gets the steal. What a play by He does it. And the heroic entrance here from Kuzan means that this might just be Jin Air's game. Nice play by Key, but they are stuck in the pit. That will be Thresh going down. And the perfect set of plays from Jin Air might just net them their game.
A hero! Jin Air go for the trade, but that was never a trade. allows them to have their cake and eat it too. Baron and Elder, that's going to be an inhibitor cracking for sure. Without Thresh, these carries cannot stand a chance. They don't have any way to engage onto this one, so it's likely that it's only an inhibitor turret, but the base being cracked is huge for this team. What a turn of events.
They actually did it. That was the play that they needed, and they made it work.
Wait a minute, they're going for gold.
Well, they got Baron and they have Elder Drake for a long time, so they're going to try. They're going to test the waters, and it looks like now they're going to rotate top. It's a pretty low top turret, and with no minions here, they will be able to burn this one down.
Thresh is back up, but they're not that strong, right? They can get hypey. The gold is there, but they're not that strong yet. It's just the champions. They can take a long time to dive. And Orianna and Varus have already reached some pretty serious itemizations. But overall, Jin Air walk away with the inhibitor turret on top side, the inhibitor mid, and now they've got a beeline for this lane for destroying the base and securing what could be a 2-0 victory over ROX. And here we go, the replay again. This is just going for the steal. You know that Key is trying to play him out, but I don't even, like...
The 865 smite.
It was a perfect smite, but I don't know what happened to Key's play. It might have been perfectly timed with the cast, but I felt like you can just buffer those, get the flay off, and deny him from entering the pit. So overall, played it to the best of his ability, but I feel like he could have done a little bit more, and so could the rest of ROX Tigers.
I mean, not just the flay, but also the death sentence and the chain of corruption. Everything went wide. The flay didn't land. It was 3 mechanical errors in a row, and then with the perfect mechanical play that led to Jin Air actually securing that. So definitely a highlight reel one for Jin Air. It was looking scary there for a moment. Now they should be sitting pretty comfortable for now. They'd love to take down this inhibitor.
Here is Galio. He's been escorting the wave in mid lane, and Shy looking for a fight into Sohan. This is like the only opportunity they have. I think he has to try to do this, but Sohan's already got the advantage of him.
Trying to run to the Galio, and there it is. Shy even flashing out, but now it's 2-on-1. Can they actually land the stun here? You can see that Rakan is making his way down. He'll try to leap strike with that counter strike, and the Lantern, they need to get it. Oh, the taunt, but he leap strikes to the Thresh, and he makes it out. Now Guzan in a bit of trouble. He's extremely tanky. They're blowing everything on him, but with a taunt coming out, I don't think they have enough damage, and in fact they won't. And there's the cast. Trying to get some of these carries. Songwon in the front, getting extremely low, but he will survive. Lots of low members on the side of ROX Tigers, though, will mean that that turret goes down.
Now, how the hell did we go from Jin Air pushing that top-tier inhibitor to everybody collapsing onto the Jax to try to take it down the tier 2? So overall, I think that ROX is actually quite happy with this trade. They didn't lose out on that turret, or the inhibitor. They only lost out on the tier 2, which compared to what could have been at stake is way worse. So overall, they're like, all right, well, it's pretty much all the Baron, so yeah, let's do that again, guys.
That's pretty nice. I mean, they only lose that one turret. They're just chilling now. All the buffs have gone down. You can see up in the top left that it just says next for Elder Drake, so we don't have the long timer on it. We don't know exactly when it's coming up, but it is a long timer, I should say, to clarify. And still Baron a long ways out. So still an opportunity for the ROX Tigers. We are hitting this extreme late game where everybody's nearing 6 items.
I love how Galio got changed to itemize more AP and nobody gave a damn. They're like, yeah, I'm going to go still full tank and still be just as strong. Well, not just as strong, but still as formidable.
Okay, we get the taunt down here. Jin Air, they're trying to slowly push in. You can see they're very respective of they're respecting the pick of the ROX Tigers, that chain of corruption, the death sentence, and every so often Teddy will just move on forward and auto attack the inhibitor a couple of times.
Yeah, he needs that rapid fire to make sure he gets that good long range auto so that he doesn't take some harass from Lava or Sangyu.
And all the while Kuzan, he's tanky for days, and you can see they're just buying time. Look at how low that inhibitor is. One more hit from that ranged minion was so close. It's still alive, just barely.
Rapid fire just went out. Ooh. They're looking for it.
That was close. Teddy with the good sidestep, and finally they do get that inhibitor. That's what they wanted. Now Songyun in the front. Songwon, nice shockwave though, and Shy is in the back. He's looking for that damage, but the heroic entrance keeps everybody alive for so long. Songwon, he doesn't have any damage himself, so he's forced to get out of there, and the Flay just trying to keep everybody alive. Shy, he can't do it himself. He's getting too low. Key himself can't do it as well, and Songyun just can't get close enough with all the threats from the side of Jin Air. So now Jin Air will rotate over to this inhibitor, probably try to take it out as soon as possible and back, because again, they didn't get any kills.
2 TPs come out. The inhibitor mid does not get taken out, but here we go. They'll have it now. And now Baron in a minute. 2 inhibs before this spawn. That is big for Jin Air. ROX is unable to find it and engage. The Shockwave, yes, it connects onto 3 members, but who else is going to be following up? The answer is nobody. Jax is unable to actually offer a significant team fighting presence. He's much better off into the split pushing role, but Renekton has been so tanky and so well has he been playing out the matchup. He's got Galley to help him out, and it feels like ROX Tigers is now just dumbfounded as to how to play this game.
It kind of feels like League of Tanks because there's so much damage that comes out from the side of ROX, but you can see just how tanky and healthy everybody is still on the side of Jin Air, even after all the combos come out.
It totally is, but the key ultimate in that fight was actually Umtis that separated the entire ROX Tigers lineup, where Orianna and Varus were pushed far back, that they were unable to deal damage to the tanks while they were dealing damage to the ROX Tigers tank. So they do have the damage to play these fights out. It's just that they need to be in position and not be threatened by Renekton and Xayah.
Okay, they're baiting ROX in here. They want to take a fight. They don't want to go for that Baron. They're not going to risk it. Want another good engage, and Shai is going to get taunted up, but you can see Jin Air very carefully going in here, and Sungwon, with how tanky he is, he feels not all that useful at this point. It's just like one knockup and that's about it. You can see what that does to Kuzan, not too much, so he's going to be fine. The Shockwave hits Kuzan alone, and this is Snowflower's key to go in. He's going to taunt up everybody, and there's that heroic entrance. He's going to get 3 members, but is there enough damage? Doesn't look like it.
The base, look at the base.
The base is going down, and you can see that ROX Tigers, they want to go back. That Nexus turret is going down, and so that means that ROX will have to turn around, and this should be Jin Air's Baron.
Now, why would you go for the solo Shockwave onto the full tank Galio is beyond me. So Kuzan gets to live another day, and now they get a Baron. They get a 3 Nexus turret out of that one, so all they have to do is rinse and repeat, go straight back to the base of ROX, and then push to end the game. Elder comes up in a minute 30. I think they can risk to go for the push without it, but it's unlikely. The fights have been decently close for Jin Air to feel like we just secure the dragon, minimize the risk, and secure our victory.
We were questioning whether this lineup that basically only has Xayah for damage would be enough, but the Renekton late game doing a bit more than we expected, and also I feel like the Jax doesn't do much into this many tanks. I mean, you're going up against double Randuins at this point. I mean, they have all the shields in the world. They have fantastic engage. The Jax gets into the backline. He's a crazy carry, but it's like he's hitting a rock wall. You know? If he could get Teddy, that would be nice, but it's Xayah. How are you going to get onto Xayah through the wall and onto a Xayah with Featherstorm and Flash and QSS and everything? Like, it seems almost impossible.
He's like a Master Yi. CC is his enemy, and there's an overwhelming amount on the side of Jin Air. It should have been the Jax split pushing that can get a lead. But I agree. I think that we were underestimating the value of this composition from Jin Air in terms of just straight up team fighting, because we compare it to what KT ran, but what ROX or Afrika had in that matchup was a wealth of damage. They had the Kennen support, they had the Kalista, Corki mid lane, even Rumble and Jarvan. So they had so much more damage for a team fight than what ROX Tigers have here, and Jin Air is making it work. Sure, the Baron play was huge, and we might have seen things a little bit different had the mechanical plays been in the favor of ROX Tigers. But for now, it appears that Jin Air have full control. Now they're going for that Elder, and after that one, they will be pushing for the game.
Yeah, they weren't able to make anything happen with the Baron just yet, but with Elder, as they have already taken one, they're going to be in a pretty nice spot. But look at Sungwon, he's looking for the steal. They get the hook onto Sungwon. Sungwon's still sticking around, but they are going to leash it out here and take it out. So no hope. This will go over to Jin Air. And now they're a very scary force to be reckoned with, because as you mentioned before, no damage, but you got Elder Drake.
It's just not worth it to try to go for that steal. Your chances are much higher if you just trust that someone can hit a critical flash in a 5v5, as opposed to getting a steal and burning his own flash, which likely he wouldn't have gotten the steal anyways, but burning his flash would have been a significant difference. Here we go, a 5v5 in the base.
They're going for both the inhibitors again. They have this top one that respawned, and looks like ROX is too scared to go for the fight with the Elder Drake up at this point. They're trying to delay as much time, but they're not going to fight over these inhibitors. They still have the bot turret. So they have that to hide behind if they need to take a fight when it gets down to it. But you can see they're just going to give up the 2 inhibitors and try to rotate down into bottom lane.
ROX has no business fighting. They need that Nexus tower, that one last turret to stand to help them out when it comes to dealing with these crazy tanks. They also happen to need the Elder and Baron to hopefully wear off. Their wave clear is there with Orianna and with Varus, but if they get dove with flashes, it's going to get hairy.
Okay, well, this is this split push you were talking about, a very hairy fight for both of these guys, but having Galio is definitely very helpful, but that means that he can't be down in bottom lane pushing.
But it's actually not just the Galio. The itemization that Sohan has in this matchup is genius. We didn't expect this to happen. He's got Blade of the Ruined King, but actually sold his boots for what else other than a Phantom Dancer. That means that the damage that Jax is dealing to him is cut down tremendously, and he can just 1v1 him. He hits him with those crits, and he doesn't see what's coming.
Okay, there's that flash. They get onto the back line. Lava with immense amount of shields, though. He's trying to get in there for that shockwave, but you can see he's pushed out of the fight. They really just want this turret. He gets a little bit too low. Meanwhile, these guys are going head-to-head. Sohan not going to take the fight this time, but they will pick up this 3rd inhibitor as Jin Air sitting pretty.
Without Dominus, there's no need for him to try that.
And that Feather Storm gets him out in a very hairy situation.
We might see one of these great base defenses. There's enough wave clear on the side of ROX that they can control 3 lanes without losing that Nexus turret. Orianna, the Hydra, Jax, as well as the Varus will have an easy time dealing with these minions. So it's going to be a lot about Jin Air going for the dive, utilizing those minion waves to crash at the same time and simultaneously go for a crazy dive. They did it that time, and here we're going to see it again. They go onto Lava, so it's going to start off with Snowflower immediately onto him, but the actual body slam ends up buffering because he goes for the auto attack and doesn't use the ultimate right away. Orianna instead just gets botched out of the team fight, and instead of killing her and potentially closing out, they simply get an inhibitor and Orianna's flash. Actually, not even her flash. It's right back up. She didn't have it.
Yeah, she didn't have it in that fight. It's just the locket came out, her own shield. Very tanky, for sure, with all of those shields. Just not enough DPS to come through for Jin Air. So here comes that push. You were talking about the base defense. Definitely do have an opportunity to do it here. The Orianna is pretty damn good at doing this. But,
Dominus is popped, though.
Okay, it seems like they want to go for this fight, but they just bait out the box at this point. Still, they need to get the lanes pushing at the same time to have a big enough wave to go in here. For now, they're just poking. You can see Shy, he's getting a little bit frisky there on the right side. He's going to get stunned up into the cast, and uh-oh, looks like he's going to lose his GA. So he gets out of position, Sungwon gets out of position, he will go down. Can they take out Shy is the real answer here. They're trying to get that taunt. It doesn't look like they should get him, but a huge wave pushing in as they try to go for this, and they're going to get onto Songyun, and that should mean it. The Nexus is open, and that will be game number 2, and the 2-0 going over to Jin Air.
What in the world was that shockwave? Okay, I think I've just completely changed my mind on things and underestimated tanks like crazy. That shockwave just tickled them. I don't think the HP bars even moved.
It's like CC.
The Gargoyle Stone Blades are out of this world at this point on. The damage reduction from both Gragas and Galio is just too damn high. And yeah, these compositions that have more tanks, I think that they can truly only be beaten by every member of the opposite team being able to dish out significant DPS to the backline. Otherwise, you cannot count these guys out.
It's very interesting to watch games like this because you know that everybody in LCK is watching and saying, hey, full tank lineups are not half bad. You know, maybe we should bring this in. You know, maybe in some of the next games we'll have, you know, where 2 of the top teams of LCK come in, we could see this at an even higher level in LCK, and then we'll really get a good look at exactly what's going on. I mean, I know everybody says, you know, 7.14, big tank meta, lethality, all these cool changes, you know, Cho'Gath has shown his face, Maokai, you know, whatever, but things are definitely going to change. But 7.13 towards the end here, very interesting with all the tanks coming in.
Yeah, it definitely is, and yeah, I really have to go for a bit of a reassessment there as to the strength of the Gragas-Galio combination with only 2 kind of carries. I do think that ROX ended up misplaying, but just seeing how damn tanky they got in that late game scenario is enough for causing a revisit into the strength of these compositions. I will definitely have a closer look into just how we're going to look at how this all started. Sohwan and Umti playing the map out quite well, starting off with a first blood onto Shy. And then they actually got to zone him off completely, but we're going to cut to the 22-minute Baron bait where they're trying to go into the Orianna. She cleanses out, and the good Shockwave gets Renekton even further away. But that was not the end of this story, as Songhwan actually goes in onto Sohwan. Wait, we don't get to see it. You gotta pay. You're not a premium subscriber, are you? There you go. We only get to see the Varus die.
Lava, pretty cool to see him run away from 4 gigantic tanks. This is the big steal. This is crazy.
Yeah, that was a big play because they were supposed to be trading for objectives. We were talking about, okay, I think it's in their best interest to trade the Dragon over the Baron, not get both at the same time. And that was the beginning of the end, because here's where these fights that you know are going to go into a chokehold, but watch how Lava plays it out. He uses Shockwave now, whereas Shockwave could be used, how about now? How about now? Perhaps now when they're all 5.
How about now? How about now?
3 on the retreat. Plenty of other opportunities for it, but Jin played them out well with being so tanky themselves. And here's another engage onto Lava. Classic Gragas going for an auto attack before utilizing your ultimate. You know, it's lesson like 1 in advanced Gragas mechanics, if you even want to call it that. And it's a little disheartening to see people fail it still.
Lesson 1 in intermediate Gragas mechanics, perhaps, but this is the end of it.
See that Shockwave?
Yeah,
that was no. Where is the damage? Did he? It's got to be a bug. He's bugged out, guys.
Look at how much health they all have.
It's Ghost Orianna. She doesn't do anything.
They don't have. The only person who doesn't have health is Teddy, but he has Featherstorm and QSS.
Gragas 18% damage reduction. Galio with his taunt with the damage reduction. Then the ultimate damage reduction. The Phantom Dancer damage reduction on the Renekton.
They just don't die.
It's sickening.
So, cool damage graph. It was a very long game, 55 minutes, but Jin Air does win in the end. So, they should be happy with that one. We were questioning that Renekton last pick, but their composition was kind of in a weird spot at that time. And they decided to go basically full tank with just the Xayah, and it worked out pretty beautifully in the end.
They had luck on their side, that's for sure, but in the end, the itemization from Sohwan, the way that they played the game out early, was refreshing to see.
Yeah, so guys, we are going to head over to the interview. I'll hand you over to Ji-sun to translate.
Hi, this is Ji-sun, your translator, and here we have Busan. So how do you feel? Before the game, I thought as myself, I want to make it to 2-0 game. I'm really happy to make it. So how was your condition? I think it was at my best level. Everything was perfect. Then can you tell us about the mid lane solo kill? At first, I wanted him to use his summoner, but he actually didn't, so I tried it one more time and got the solo kill. You seem really confident these days. In the beginning of the season, I wasn't performing really well, but recently, I think I've been working really well. Then let's take a look at the second MVP.
Well, let's see who it is. No surprise here, Umti having the pretty ridiculous steal. We'll see if we get some replays of his plays.
Snowballing topside, making sure that Jax got denied, going for the steal. Great ultimates at times, lots of good body slams. Here we go once again. And he's just tanky. I guess that's enough to make you MVP.
And we're back with Umti. So how do you feel for today's match? It was really hard. I don't think we should make it to this late game. I think if we didn't die two times in the game, I think we could make it to 20 minutes game. So it seems like to spend a lot of time at the top lane. What was your plan? So we're trying to take down Jack's, but Shy has a great skill combination. So we failed for sometimes. So I think I went to the top again. Well, actually, I didn't even think that I could be the MVP because I haven't played Bragas for a while, so I didn't satisfy from my play. So yeah, I'm kind of like not believing that I'm the MVP. Well, but Kuzan said he knew that he would be the MVP. Then how was the Baron still? So we were trying to get the Elder, but we saw them going for the Baron, so we trying to follow with Galio's ult, and I think I was lucky to make it. In the late game, Teddy sold his boots. What kind of shot calls did you guys have? Well, he said he will sell his boots and buy Triforce. Well, I wasn't really sure if that was the best decision. But in my opinion, I think buying Triforce is better because it's more expensive than boots. What did you think in the late game? Like, how did you sustain your conservation? I wasn't really happy. I was actually sad because we couldn't perform really well in the late game, so we're trying to cheer up better. Yeah, recently Teddy and Kuzan and also other junior players are in the best conditions. How would you like to give compliments as a teammate? Well, T didn't play well in the spring season, but he's performing really well right now, so I think I'm really satisfied with him. Yeah, I agree that I wasn't really good in the spring. But there are also some games that Kuzan didn't perform really well and we lost the game, so let's just share compliments right now. Yeah, T, you're doing really well. I always think that Kuzan is the one with the best laning phase. And as a jungler, I kind of get a lot of influence by the laner, so I think I'm really happy that Kuzan is really good with his laning phase. Last words for the season? We're gonna make it to the 5th place. Thank you for the support. And last message for your fans. Thank you for your support, and we'll win all the upcoming matches to make it to playoff. Thank you.
So that's going to do it for your translation. Thank you very much, Ji-sun, for helping out with that. And that will do it for the rest of the night. We're going to take a look at the standings here. Generic Greenwings just one win behind Afrika. They need that one to have any chance of making it into playoffs.
They did say they're shooting for 5th place. There was a lot of certainty in that one, and I have to say, on a different tangent, I love how wholesome these interviews are. Just always asking the teammates to give each other compliments, and they do. They give them nice, they give them good compliments. A little bit of smack here and there, but overall,
yeah, you sucked in spring, but hey, you're okay now.
Yeah, that's a compliment. That's a compliment-salt. But you were, but he even knows. He knows, yeah. Half compliment, half insult.
Backhanded compliment, perhaps?
No, it's a compliment-salt.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. But who knows? Maybe we'll see both Afrika and Jin Air go up if SKT keep losing. There's still that chance. They're only 2 wins ahead of Janair.
Yeah, there's still
It's
that
possible.
chance for SKT to continue down their hole. Although I don't think anybody wants to see that. We want to see these teams do well. We want to see the ROX Tigers find a footing back into the game, even though it doesn't have any implications on them. We want to see Janair at least put up a fight against Afrika so that they can duke it out and decide who really deserves to be that 5th place spot.
Yeah, I'll definitely have my eyes on Janair, watching all their games in particular to see exactly if they can make this last couple of weeks of LCK really interesting, because I really hope they do. I hope there's like some kind of tiebreaker or some crazy situation where they come through, because these guys have been taking that Janair airplane. They've just been improving, going up and up.
Well, they feel like a team that's just so young, right? Like, compared to the guys at the top field with so many veterans, even though the guys at Janair have been playing for a while, not as long as the guys in the other teams. They're younger players. They seem more excited at times. Remember Ixu's pentakill, how happy he was, how happy Umti gets. So this is why we want to see these guys do well.
For sure. Hoping all the teams do well in LCK. We'll hope it's a very wholesome end
We hope
to
both
this
teams
split.
have fun.
Yeah, everybody has fun. That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.